Thanks, Tyler, and thank you for tuning in to the Amherst Weekly Report.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Amherst Weekly Report with Amherst Media. I'm Tyler Baraldi, and today we're going to start off with AWR field correspondent Karan Chowdhury, who's got the inside scoop on upcoming performances at the Drake.
Hello, I'm Karan Chowdhury, and I'm at the Drake in Amherst Center, the new venue, where Gilly Yallo will be performing on April 29th.
The Drake is the first concept for the Downtown Amherst Foundation as part of the mission to create arts and culture as a destination and economic driver for downtown Amherst. This is the first of 3 projects that we want to complete for the community, and we conceived this in January of 21, and less than a year and a half later, we're open. This is our grand opening with violinist Regina Carter, and then we have a couple of weeks ahead of just the most incredible, wild, like different genres of music, and every day we add more and more programming to our program. Yeah. We're really excited about Gilly. We've partnered with Laudable Productions, and they have an incredible relationship with artists from all over the world. So they're really into world music. So they brought Gilly into the picture for us. It's an 8-piece band, major dance night. And yeah, like you said, that great Ethiopian Afro vibe going on in here. It's going to be a fantastic night for Amherst. We're really excited about hosting him.
We're looking forward to what the Drake brings in for the community of Amherst and what Gilly Yallo brings in with the Ethiopian beats. This is Karan Chowdhury from Amherst Media, Amherst.
As summer performances and events heat up in the Valley, UMass Amherst is looking for ways to cool down their contributions to global warming and greenhouse gas emissions. Amherst Weekly Report's Caitlin Mott is on campus to give us a look at how UMass is ahead of the state's renewable energy charge.
The University of Massachusetts Amherst has recently committed to 100% renewable energy by the year 2032. This comes at almost 20 years ahead of the Massachusetts state goal of being carbon neutral by the year 2050. The project has been in review for almost 2 years and is estimated to cost about $500 million.
I think it's phenomenal and it's necessary. UMass for years now has been pushing for clean energy and just for the energy transition. So I think this was just a logical step. It's like this building, say, it's one of the older buildings, as are a lot of engineering buildings on campus. And they all still use steam in the radiators, and that's going to have to change over to hot water, which will have to be use heat pumps instead of the power plants on campus. So there's just a million infrastructure changes that will be required, and it's going to be a ton of time and a ton of money. But I think if UMass continues with the good leadership that they have now, or just successors to that leadership, they'll be able to do it. So.
This is Caitlin Mott, Amherst Media, Amherst.
Emergency medical providers have growing concerns about their ability to fulfill their duties and administer emergency services to Amherst residents. Correspondent May Craig is in the field to uncover the reasons why Amherst firefighters are asking town councilors to act.
For the past 8 years, the Amherst Fire Department has been wanting to shift their ambulances from 10 years to 7 to 8 years due to past catastrophic failures involving the failings of equipment and vehicles. On April 19th, one of the ambulances, R12, was returning to Amherst after transporting a patient to the Cooley Dickinson Hospital. During the return trip, 2 firefighters/paramedics in the ambulance felt a shake that immediately turned into a crashing sound. The 2 passengers' side rear wheels of the ambulance had sheared off, causing the ambulance to crash into the pavement. The crew then had to stop and pick up the pieces of their shattered ambulance off the road. No patient was in the vehicle at the time of the accident, and no members of the crew were injured. However, firefighters suggest that the ambulance failure is a sign of the city's need to invest more in its equipment. But budget considerations to replace the equipment and vehicles were put on hold due to COVID-19. The city has not so far agreed to speed up purchasing replacement vehicles. I'm Meg Craig, Amherst Media, Amherst.
With today being Amherst Weekly Report's final episode of the semester, I'm going to be discussing an overall review of our active teams' final standings at this point in their seasons. Starting with the UMass baseball team, the Minutemen currently stand at 17, 16, and 1 on the season. They have a perfectly even conference record of 6-6, which places them 7th in the A-10 conference, tied with Dayton and George Mason. The team didn't do themselves any favors in usurping either of those schools recently, as they would fall to that aforementioned Dayton squad 3 consecutive times in a triple header last weekend, with 2 of those losses being absolute 9+ point blowouts. It seemed this season that every time the team gains a bit of momentum or traction, it's stripped from them. And while their sole saving grace happened to be their in-conference record, following their most recent string of losses, they really don't even have that going for them. Regardless, there's still a lot of baseball yet to play, and the team is technically only a game back from second place, as every team above them, aside from first place Davidson, stands at 7-5 as well. Their next conference series will be against George Mason, starting this Friday at 3 p.m. and concluding this Sunday at noon. In what shouldn't be a shock to any frequent AWR viewers or Amherst College faithfuls, the Mammoths baseball team stands at an unfortunate 11-16-1 record, with a mere 2-7 conference record. This places them dead last in the NES-CAC Conference West Division and second to last overall, solely above 1-7 Bates. The team managed a bit of a winning streak after taking down Solway Regina on April 11th, only losing 1 of their next 5 games, though they would then split the following 4. After beating MIT on Sunday, their final conference series will be against Williams College, starting at 4 p.m. on Friday and concluding at 3:30 on Saturday. Winning all 3 of these games would propel them above Williams in the standings, though at this point in the season, they're all but confirmed to be one of the bottom 2 teams in their division. Moving on to UMass men's lacrosse, the team stands at 7-5 with a 2-2 conference record and only 1 game remaining on their schedule. This places UMass at 25th in overall NCAA D1 standings and 3rd in CAA standings. After entering a 5-game winning streak earlier in the season, the squad has lost 2 of its last 3 games, falling to Towson and Fairfield but beating Hofstra. Both of their losses were closely contested, and the team has overall performed better than their record would indicate, with Mike Tobin, Kevin Tobin, and Logan Leisure forming a deadly trio that has managed to produce all season. Their final matchup will be against Drexel this Friday at 6 p.m. in a game that will have major ramifications toward their end-of-season rankings, seeing that they're tied at 2-2 with 3 other teams, with Drexel themselves being included. Finally, rounding out with UMass women's lacrosse, the team has maintained their role as easily the most dominant team on campus, standing strong at 15-2 with a perfect conference record of 9-0, placing them on top of the A-10 standings, with only Richmond following close behind at 14-3. Their 2 losses came in the first 5 games of the season, and they've been undefeated since March 5th. Not only this, but up until the final 2 games of the season, the Minutewomen have been absolutely blowing out their competition, with box scores like 21-6 being almost expected. With their season wrapped up, their next game in the A-10 championship tournament is still TBA, though it will be sometime between Thursday and Sunday, and as the 1 seed, will definitely take place at home. That just about does it for our sports this semester, and in a year that saw multiple A-10 championship victories and a few close calls, thank you all for watching our last episode of the season and tuning in to Amherst Media. I'm Tyler Baraldi with the Amherst Weekly Report. Good night, and see you in the fall.